Hey, welcome to this deep dive. This one's actually curated specifically for you. You requested a closer look at a dream that you shared, and I have to say, it's a it's a fascinating one. We'll be unpacking a YouTube video by a woman named Tori B, where she interprets one of her own dreams.
Right.
Now, we're not here to endorse any specific beliefs or anything. We're
Right.
just going to explore the symbolism and maybe uncover some psychological insights along the way.
Oh,
And
yeah.
plus, she connects her dream to some biblical verses, which I always think that adds a really interesting dimension.
Yeah, I think what's so intriguing about this is that we get to see how she personally connects with her dream,
Huh.
adding a unique layer to the symbolism.
Uh-huh.
It's like we're getting a glimpse into her inner world.
Yeah. Okay, so in her dream, Tori finds herself parking her car on a side street. But she doesn't just park and go about her day.
Right.
She really emphasizes the act of parking, almost like it's a deliberate choice.
And that's where the symbolism kicks in.
Yeah.
She sees the car as representing her journey through life.
Uh-huh.
And this specific act of parking, not just anywhere but on a side street, suggests she's feeling pulled to settle, maybe even give up on her bigger aspirations. It paints a picture of feeling lost, almost defeated, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And then things take a turn for the surreal. Suddenly, a shadow man and three adorable kittens
Wow.
dart out from under the car and scramble up a tree. It's like a scene straight out of a Tim Burton film.
That juxtaposition of the shadow man, often a symbol of our darker impulses or the things we're afraid to confront,
Yeah.
and the playful innocence of kittens, is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that contrast?
It's definitely striking. Tori interprets those kittens as symbols of faith growth and the importance of keeping that childlike sense of wonder alive.
Uh-huh.
She even mentions the nursery rhyme Three Little Kittens and their ability to lose things and find them again.
Right.
Kind of like a metaphor for resilience and learning from mistakes.
I love that connection. It's a reminder that even when we're faced with our shadows, there's still room for joy, playfulness, and that unwavering belief that things can get better.
Yeah. Okay, so the shadow man doesn't just hang out in the tree. He eventually climbs down and starts arguing with Tori's mother, who's sitting in the car. Now, family dynamics and dreams can get pretty complex.
Absolutely.
Right.
Tori believes her mother in the dream represents generational curses,
Okay.
a concept that suggests we can inherit patterns of behavior or consequences from our ancestors. Think of it like unseen baggage passed down through generations, sometimes impacting our life without us even realizing it.
Wow. And the fact that they're arguing, well, that hints at a communication breakdown, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a struggle to understand each other or break free from those inherited patterns.
Exactly. And it's not just happening within the family unit. Remember, all this is taking place on a dead-end street
Yeah.
with the car heading straight towards a giant brick wall.
Oh,
That sense of being trapped, of running into obstacles, could be a reflection of those communication breakdowns playing out in Tori's wider life, maybe in her relationships or even in society as a whole.
it's like she's feeling boxed in on all sides, both by those personal patterns and by forces beyond her control. But then something remarkable happens. Tori raises her right arm to pray and experiences this incredible surge of power.
That's a really pivotal moment in the dream.
Yeah.
The right hand often symbolizes strength, authority, and in many spiritual traditions, it's associated with divine power.
Okay.
What's powerful here is that Tori isn't passively accepting her fate. She's actively seeking a way out, invoking a higher power to help her overcome these obstacles.
And it's not just a prayer for herself.
Right.
She specifically prays for the shadow man, for those who might be causing her pain. That struck me as incredibly profound. Have you ever encountered that concept of praying for your tormentors?
It's a powerful act of compassion.
Mm.
Tori seems to understand that people who inflict pain are often struggling with their own inner demons.
Mm-hmm.
She's not condoning their actions, but she's acknowledging their suffering and choosing to respond with empathy rather than anger. It's like she's breaking free from that cycle of hurt.
And get this, right after she prays for him, the shadow man literally bursts into pieces.
Wow.
It's like her compassion disintegrated the darkness.
Talk about a symbolic ending.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is that Tori connects this to a spiritual concept called a cornerstone. It's a biblical term referring to a stone that's essential to a building's foundation, but is often rejected by builders.
Mm-hmm.
She sees herself as that cornerstone, undervalued but still crucial, and finds strength in the idea that even rejection has a purpose.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. We've got a car symbolizing a life journey, a
Right.
shadow man representing both external challenges and those internal blind spots, adorable kittens,
Hmm.
reminding us of the importance of faith and resilience, a mother figure tied to the complex idea of generational patterns, and a dead-end street representing a sense of being trapped. It's like a visual representation of Tori's internal struggles, wouldn't
Wow.
you say?
Absolutely. And the fact that all this unfolds against the backdrop of biblical references adds a layer of spiritual seeking that's both personal and universal. It's like she's drawing on ancient wisdom to navigate her modern life.
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's still so much more to uncover in Tori's dream. Remember that tree I mentioned?
Yeah.
Well, that plays a crucial role in the next part of our deep dive. Stick with us as we explore the symbolism of the tree and how it connects to Tori's journey of transformation. Okay, so we left off with that powerful image of the Shadow Man bursting into pieces after Tori prayed for him. It seems like that act of prayer was a real turning point in her dream.
It definitely signifies a shift in her mindset, a move from feeling powerless to embracing her own agency.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how Tori connects that feeling of almost giving up that moment of parking on a side street to the biblical concept of a cornerstone.
Yeah, she mentioned that the cornerstone is often rejected by builders, even though it's essential to the structure, but what exactly does that mean in a broader sense?
Well, think of it this way. A cornerstone is a foundational element, something crucial for stability and support. But sometimes its importance isn't recognized right away. It might be overlooked or even discarded, just like Tori felt in that moment of settling on a side street. But the cornerstone still holds inherent value, even if it's not immediately apparent.
So Tori is drawing strength from that idea, seeing herself as that essential but overlooked element.
Precisely. She's acknowledging those feelings of rejection, but also affirming her own worth and purpose. It's like she's saying, I might be underestimated now, but I have a crucial role to play.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. Now, let's talk about that tree. It's not every day you see a shadow man and three kittens having a treetop adventure in your dream.
Right. Trees are often potent symbols in dreams, representing growth, strength, and a connection to something larger than ourselves. In many cultures, they're seen as a link between heaven and earth, the physical and spiritual realms. And in Tori's dream, the tree seems to symbolize resilience and hope.
She specifically connects it to the idea of God's provision, the belief that even in challenging times, there's support available.
Exactly. It's like the tree represents that unwavering presence, that source of strength she can tap into, even when surrounded by darkness and uncertainty.
And remember, the kittens climb that tree too. It's like even in the face of the shadow man representing her fears and doubts, those kittens symbolizing faith and innocence are still reaching for growth and light.
It's a beautiful image, isn't it? A reminder that even when things feel bleak, there's still a spark of hope within us, urging us to reach for something higher. And that connection Tori makes to the tree of life from the book of Revelation adds another layer of meaning.
For those unfamiliar with the book of Revelation, it's often seen as a symbolic depiction of the end times and the ultimate victory of good over evil. And the tree of life represents eternal life paradise, a state of perfect harmony. So is Tori suggesting that by choosing faith and following a righteous path, she can find that kind of fulfillment?
That seems to be the underlying message. She's drawing a parallel between the choice to obey a higher power, to align with what she believes is right, and the promise of ultimate peace and happiness.
So we've got this feeling of being stuck on a dead-end street heading towards a brick wall, but there's also this tree representing growth, resilience, and divine provision. It's almost like two opposing forces at play here.
What's fascinating is how Tori uses this imagery to explore the concept of choice. She's not denying the dead end, those feelings of being trapped by circumstances or maybe even by her own choices, but she's also acknowledging the potential for growth and overcoming obstacles symbolized by the tree. It's a powerful reminder that even when we feel stuck, we still have the power to choose our perspective, to choose how we respond to challenges.
And speaking of feeling stuck, let's circle back to that conversation between Tori's mother and the Shadow Man. We talked about how that might represent a communication breakdown, but Tori also links her mother to the concept of generational curses. That's a pretty heavy topic.
It is. She's tapping into the idea that sometimes the consequences of our ancestors' actions can impact our own lives, even if we aren't aware of them. Think of it like inherited patterns of behavior or unresolved trauma that can be passed down through families.
She specifically mentions Exodus 20.5, which talks about God punishing children for the sins of their parents. That's a verse that sparked a lot of debate and different interpretations over the years.
Absolutely. And It's important to approach such topics with sensitivity and an understanding that there are diverse perspectives on these matters.
Right. Our goal here isn't to delve into theological debates, but rather to understand how Tori is using this concept to make sense of her own experiences. It seems like she sees those inherited patterns symbolized by her mother in the dream as a potential obstacle on her journey.
Exactly. For her, it's not about blaming her ancestors, but about recognizing the potential impact of those inherited patterns and finding a way to break free from any negativity that might be holding her back.
And maybe that's where the argument comes in. It's like she's trying to communicate with those generational patterns represented by her mother and with the shadow man, who could symbolize both external forces and her own inner darkness. But the communication is breaking down, leading to that feeling of being stuck on a dead-end street.
That's a really insightful observation. It's like she's trapped in a cycle of repeating patterns, both internal and external. And the argument represents her struggle to break free. But then remember that powerful moment when she raises her right arm to pray. That's where things start to shift.
Yeah. She describes feeling this incredible surge of energy, like she's tapping into a source of strength beyond herself.
And that's where the symbolism of the right hand comes in. In many spiritual traditions, the right hand represents power, authority, and the ability to act. It's a symbol of taking control, of claiming agency in a situation where she previously felt powerless.
So it's not just that she's praying, but she's doing it with a sense of purpose, with a sense of commanding her own destiny. And what's even more remarkable is that she chooses to pray not just for herself, but for those who have hurt her, including the Shadow Man.
That's an act of radical compassion, wouldn't you say? It suggests a deep understanding that those who inflict pain are often hurting themselves, and that by praying for them, she's not excusing their actions, but rather seeking their healing and transformation.
She even says that those who take pleasure in others' suffering are likely disconnected from a higher power, living in a state of ignorance.
That's a profound statement. It suggests that cruelty and negativity stem from a lack of awareness, a blindness to the interconnectedness of all beings. And by choosing to pray for those who have wronged her, she's breaking free from that cycle of hurt and choosing a path of empathy and understanding.
It's like she's recognizing that everyone is on their own journey facing their own battles, and that by extending compassion, she's not only helping them, but also liberating herself from the bitterness and resentment that can keep us trapped in the past.
And it's that shift in perspective that ultimately leads to the Shadow Man bursting into pieces. It's like her act of forgiveness literally disintegrated the darkness that was holding her back.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive. We've explored the symbolism of the cornerstone, the tree of life, the power of prayer and forgiveness, and the complex concept of generational patterns. What's resonating with you the most so far?
For me, it's that moment of Tori raising her right arm to pray. It's a reminder that we all have the power to choose how we respond to challenges, to break free from limiting patterns, and to tap into a source of strength greater than ourselves.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating how Tori connects her personal experiences to these biblical stories and symbols. It really highlights the universal search for meaning and the way we use stories to make sense of our lives.
And that brings us to the final part of Tori's dream, where she describes a profound personal transformation. We'll explore that transformation and what it means for Tori's journey in part 3 of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
So we've been on quite a journey with Tori's dream, haven't we? From that feeling of being stuck on a dead-end street to that powerful moment of prayer, it's like we've witnessed a shift in her inner landscape.
What's so striking is how the dream culminates in a profound personal transformation. She goes from feeling lost and defeated to a place of empowerment and clarity. It's like she's undergone a spiritual awakening, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Remember how she started by parking on that side street, almost giving up on her bigger aspirations? But by the end, she's radiating a sense of purpose and strength.
And it all seems to stem from that moment of prayer. It's like that act of reaching out, of invoking a higher power, becomes a catalyst for change.
Yeah, and she doesn't just pray for herself, though, right? She specifically prays for those who have caused her pain, for the Shadow Man, even for those who seem to delight in the suffering of others. That's a level of compassion that's pretty remarkable.
It's a radical act of empathy. Tori seems to understand that people who inflict pain are often deeply wounded themselves. She's not condoning their actions, but she's recognizing their suffering and choosing to respond with love instead of perpetuating the cycle of hurt.
Yeah, she even goes as far as to say that those who take pleasure in others' suffering are likely disconnected from a higher power, living in a state of ignorance. It's like she sees their cruelty as a symptom of their own inner darkness.
That's a really profound insight. It suggests that negativity and harmful behavior often stem from a lack of awareness, a blindness to the interconnectedness of all beings. And by choosing to pray for those who have wronged her, she's essentially trying to illuminate their darkness with her own compassion.
Yeah, it's like she's saying, I see your suffering, and I choose to respond with love and understanding instead of perpetuating the cycle of pain. It's a powerful message of forgiveness and healing.
And it's not just about their healing, but her own as well. By releasing those feelings of bitterness and resentment, she's freeing herself from the weight of the past and creating space for growth and transformation.
Right. And remember at the beginning of the dream when she was feeling defeated and almost ready to give up? It's like that moment of prayer becomes a turning point, a catalyst for her to reclaim her power and step into a new chapter of her life.
It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of connecting with something greater than ourselves, whether that's through prayer, meditation, or simply a deep sense of purpose. Tapping into that inner strength can help us overcome even the most daunting challenges.
Yeah, it's like the dream itself becomes a metaphor for spiritual awakening. She starts in darkness, facing her shadows, those generational patterns, that feeling of being trapped. But then through prayer and compassion, she emerges into the light, transformed by her own inner strength and a renewed sense of faith.
And what's beautiful is that this transformation isn't just about her personal journey. She ends the video with a prayer for all those who are listening, asking for their deliverance and healing.
It's like she's extending that compassion outward, inviting everyone to join her on this path of forgiveness and spiritual growth. It's a really powerful message of hope, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, transformation is possible.
It's a reminder that we all have the capacity for change, for growth, for healing, and that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles, we have the power within ourselves to choose a different path, to choose love over fear, compassion over judgment, and forgiveness over resentment.
So we've explored the symbolism of the car, the shadow man, the kittens, the tree, the mother figure, that dead-end street, the brick wall. And we've delved into Tori's interpretations of these symbols, seeing how they connect to her personal experiences and beliefs.
And we've witnessed her journey from a place of feeling stuck and defeated to a place of empowerment and compassion, all through the lens of this incredibly vivid dream.
What a deep dive this has been. We've covered so much ground, from generational patterns and spiritual awakening to the power of prayer and forgiveness. What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway?
For me, it's that reminder that we all have the capacity for transformation. Even when we feel lost or trapped, there's always the potential for growth, healing, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Beautifully put. And for you, our listener who requested this deep dive, I hope exploring Tori's dream has given you some new insights into your own conscious. Dreams can be such powerful tools for self-discovery. Maybe there are symbols in your dreams waiting to be unlocked, messages from your subconscious that could guide you on your own journey of personal growth and transformation. What dreams are you ready to explore? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and keep dreaming.